unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome to this No Thanksgiving edition of the BlackChannel.net video program, a long-standing tradition of intelligent black society, because from where I stand, today ain't no damn holiday, it's just Thursday. And I always make it a point to show up here to show just how much it does not matter to me. This isn't any glorified day for me or my people. And I show it through my time, which is the only asset that you have that you cannot get more of. So I spend my time here with the people. I'm very glad to have you all with us here this evening. I'll even be taking telephone calls, although that's ill-advised. The telephone number is 646-77-1933. That is 646-77-1933. Your personal access code to the Blackest Radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. You are, of course, welcome to join us. Yes, indeed, and join us you shall, because on tonight's program, I wanted to go over the curious subject of the missionaries, the Pilgrims who met the Sentinels. I wanted to go over that with you here tonight. On Thanksgiving here, we have international headlines being made about the Pilgrims who met the Sentinels. Couldn't help but see that as well. And we might as well just go ahead and get into it here. Now, what we have is a situation whereby which there's a fella named John Chow, and I'm sure you all have heard the headlines and seen it about that there. This is a guy who did the work, and before I say anything else, I do want to say, it is tragic. I mean, nobody expects to wake up one day and their family member is killed. Although in this guy's case, I'm not sure I can even say that, because he wrote his family before he went there and said, I might die when I go there. I might get killed when I go there. But I consider that to be an acceptable risk, because I want to go and I want to convert these people to Christianity. I have said this to you all before, and this story has so many cascading elements to it for what we've told you about here at the Black Channel for years and years now. This is the quintessential nexus of white supremacy on practically every level. Practically every level. There's so much to talk about here. First of all is white supremacy. The idea that you have some genetic right to invade other people's land. That because you want to be there, that gives you all the right to be there. And that you should determine the terms on which they accept you. The people who created the idea of property rights are here to tell you that all of a sudden you don't have property rights. You don't even have sovereignty when they show up. All of a sudden, property rights and sovereignty become irrelevant, obsolete concepts when they show up. Interesting. Interesting how that works, isn't it? I just thought. Kind of interesting there. Second of all, you do not have to be white in order to be a white supremacist. You do not have to be white in order to be a white supremacist. That's the other thing that this story details. That you can accept the behaviors and attitudes and practices of white supremacy. You do not have to be Caucasian in order to adopt white supremacy as a personal code of conduct and to proceed into the world imposing white supremacy on other people. Next, using Christianity as the device, as the delivery vehicle through which you will soften the people up. Oh, I only came here to discuss with you the love of Jesus. Did these people talk about they need the love of Jesus? No, they don't know that they need it, but I'm going to force myself and break and enter onto their island to deliver to them the love of Jesus, because they need me to come and preach it to them. Jesus is not adequate himself. He can't get the job done. They need me, Mr. Chow, to come and do it for them. That's what they need. They don't need Jesus. They need John Chow. They don't need JC, Jesus Christ. They need JC, John Chow. That's who they need. And of course, it is a group of non-white people. Of all the places in the world that have not heard of Christianity, he didn't try to go into Russia. He didn't try to go into North Korea. He didn't try to go into one of those areas. He tried to go into an indigenous island, the so-called North Sentinel Island, which of course is not really its true name. It's the name that's been given to them, but okay, so you know where it is. North Sentinel Island, which is off the coast of India. And this is a place that has been isolated. It's only got a population they estimate of about 50 people. It's a place about the size of Manhattan, and its population is about 50 people. They're not asking for doctors. They're not asking for lawyers. They're not asking for peace treaties. They're not asking for health care. These people have been able to live and survive all this time with absolutely no contact, for the most part, from the outside world, except every once in a while, somebody decides they're going to come to the island and try to soften you up for colonization. But the first thing you must do is you must colonize the minds of the people that you intend to invade. You've got to get them to drop their guard. And I'm not really sure where this practice came from. I'm not really certain how it got passed down, but for some reason, this island of indigenous African people, and when you look at them, no, these are not East Indians. I mean, these are clearly very much African people. Clearly very much, if you look at them, sub-Saharan African. These are these are blue-black people. These are blue-black people. So nobody can deny what they are. Blue-black with wide noses and thick lips. No one can deny what they are. This far north, by the way. A lot of folk don't like that either. There have been some researchers who have been trying to de-Africanize them because they're so far north. They've been trying to figure out a way to do that, and it's kind of fallen on his face. But in any case, you've got these people on North Sentinel Island, and they've made it very clear, and I'm not really sure how the practice got handed down, but if you are an outsider, they do not trap you. If you are an outsider, they do not handcuff you. If you are an outsider, they do not bind and gag you and then try to figure out some way to send you off. If you are an outsider, they get out their bows and their arrows. They don't ask no questions. They just start shooting. They are hyper vigilant about survival, and it is my hypothesis that somewhere along the line, somebody got the word to them that if you are just too damn vulnerable, The only way we've lived is keeping people out of this place, and we will be overrun. There's too few of us. They are aware of the outside world. Let us be very clear about this. They're not shooting people because they're ignorant of the outside world. They are hyper defensive of themselves because they are brutally aware of the outside world. There was a video that was done by some folks who showed up. I think it was named Joe Rogan, had it on his program. They got it on YouTube. It's a video with some folks who came tossing coconuts to them. Now, they were out in their boat. They didn't get on the island. They were still out in their boat tossing coconuts up on the beach. And the North Sentinelese, they got the coconuts, but them fellas in the boats didn't really try to get out of the place. I think one of them did get out for a little bit. They got there and took a little video and got the hell out. And the North Sentinelese somehow got the word, is what I believe. Somehow they got the word, they got the point that your survival hangs in the balance if you allow people access to this island. Your survival hangs in the balance. Apparently, there are no North Sentinelese coons just yet. Apparently, there are no North Sentinelese bedwenches just yet. If they are there, they ain't running things just yet. So I'm not sure where the coons are on North Sentinel Island, not sure where the bedwenches are, not sure where the swirlers are, not sure where the feminists are, but apparently they ain't running the island just yet. Not yet, they're not. So I found that to be a little bit interesting there. Now, I wanted to read from you for this article from The Guardian, because of course the British news is gonna weigh in on this. The title of it is "Man Killed on Remote Indian Island Tried to Declare Jesus to Tribe." John Allen Chow's diary suggests he knew the risks of going to North Sentinel Island. First of all, you don't end up on North Sentinel Island by accident. You end up there deliberately. He knew where he was going, he knew what he was going for, and he knew what he was likely to get. I can only assume he had a death wish. Story says an American man who was killed by an isolated tribe on a remote Indian island wrote to his parents hours before his death that he wanted, quote, to declare Jesus, end quote, to the tribe's people, and that they, talking about his parents, his parents, quote, should not be angry at them or at God if I get killed. Well, that sounds like an open and shut case to me. I can't say anything more. Sounds like an open and shut case. You have to remember, North Sentinel Island is essentially a sovereign place. The Indian government has made this tribe protected. So North Sentinel Island is essentially sovereign territory. It is essentially a government unto itself. He went invading a foreign country claiming you're a tourist. There is no such thing as the tourist invader. You don't sit up here and walk into somebody's damn house and declare I'm a tourist. Who did he get permission from to declare or validate that he was a tourist? When you get a passport to go from America to Mexico, those two governments have formal relations. And as long as you are not a criminal on the run from either the Mexican or the American government, you then are a tourist. Because the governments have made formal ties and agreements. How the hell can you show up in somebody's country unannounced, uninvited, with no legal government ties, and then declare yourself a tourist? And for the media to say this is just absolutely asinine. You're just gonna walk into somebody's country and just declare I'm a tourist. Well, I mean, but this is a long-standing white supremacist tradition. When Columbus came to the Bahamas and declared he was king. When LaSalle and the others came to the West and declared they were kings. So this is a long-standing tradition. Long-standing tradition. Story goes on to say John Allen Chow, 26, you want to live to see 27, is believed to have been hit with a volley of arrows shortly after making land on North Sentinel Island, part of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, last Friday. The island, which is off limits to visitors without permission, is home to a 30,000-year-old tribe that is known to aggressively resist outsiders. If anybody tries to tell you that they dispute or do not know that black people are the original people of this planet, if anybody attempts to dispute out of Africa, if anybody attempts to dispute the works of Dr. John Henry Clark, Chancellor Williams, Ivan Van Sertima, and the others, just remember North Sentinel Island. That is just one example that predates, really, to be totally honest with you, predates the pyramids and everything else. When you think about it, 30,000 years. And that's what you're willing to cop to. Because I've heard numbers as high as 60 or 70,000 years. That's just what the Guardian's article is saying. I've seen numbers as high as 60 or 70,000. Now somebody explain to me where you can find a 70,000-year-old civilization anywhere else on this planet. Jared Taylor, I'll wait. Actually, no, I won't. I was just jiving you. I won't wait for silliness. Why is it that people have such a resistance to it when we say that white people created civilization? Why? I just don't quite understand it. It's because we can read and write. That's why. It's because we can do that. Story goes on to say Chow repeatedly tried to contact the tribes people and managed to reach the island the day before he was killed. He tried to offer gifts of fish and a football. He wrote in his diary, quote, "I heard the whoops and shouts from the hunt." Chow wrote in an entry that was given to several media outlets by his mother. "I made sure to stay out of arrow range, but unfortunately that meant I was also out of good hearing range. People, he was on the island. They were shooting arrows at him. They were making it very clear, son of a gun, you ain't welcome." So what they're telling you is he confirmed he was already on the island. They were already hostile. They were already letting him know you are not welcome on North Sentinel soil. And he insisted on staying. He insisted, I'm going to convert these people, do or die. Well, he didn't do. Moving right along here, it said, quote, "I hollered, 'My name is John. I love you and Jesus loves you. I regret I began to panic slightly as I saw them string arrows in their bows. I picked up the fish and threw it towards them. They kept coming. I paddled like I never have in my life back to the boat. I felt some fear, but mainly was disappointment. They didn't accept me right away." They didn't accept me right away. They didn't accept me right away. Could you imagine this guy dating your daughter? Like, she's trying to run over him in the car. She's shooting at him. She's called the police. She's setting him on fire. And he's like, well, she hasn't said yes yet. I don't know if she likes me or not. She hasn't said yes yet. Could you imagine this guy dating your daughter? Could you imagine that? Yeah, I mean, they were shooting arrows at me. They chased me all the way back to the boat. They just haven't accepted me yet. They just haven't accepted me. No, this is literally what he said. I picked up the fish and threw it towards them. Yeah, I mean, this guy was literally doing everything you could possibly do to get killed at the age of 26. It goes on to say, one of the tribe's people, quote, a kid, probably 10 or so years old, maybe a teenager, fired an arrow that struck his Bible, he wrote that night, on board the boat of fishermen that he paid 25,000 rupees, which converts to 275 pounds. If you're talking about in British currency here, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get right about that there because I want to. All right, 1 pound is $1.29. So this guy was willing to sit up here and he paid them $354 was what he paid. He paid these fishermen the equivalent of $354 each. And they've arrested like 7 of them. So he paid them $354 essentially to take him to North Sentinel Island. Quote, well, I've been shot by the Sentinelese. Those are his words. They fired an arrow that struck his Bible. He wrote that night on board the boat of fishermen he paid $354 to smuggle him close to the island. Quote, well, I've been shot by the Sentinelese. The next day, as he prepared to make another approach, Chow wrote a letter to his parents. Yes, brothers and sisters, he went, and then he came back, and then he came back again. White supremacy is not gonna take no for an answer. It's just not gonna take no for an answer. Of all the things he could have spent money on and all the ways that he could have used his time, he was determined that he was going to get on this island and he was going to convert them by any and all means. I'm going to spend the whole damn year and I'm going to go back day after day after day after day. So people, it wasn't like he showed up on the island and didn't know what the deal was. It wasn't like he showed up on the island and wasn't sure what was going to happen. It wasn't like he showed up on the island and saw that things went bad and didn't get away. He just kept going back. He had gotten off the island to tell his parents, whoa, they shooting arrows at me and they hit my Bible. I mean, they were trying to kill me. Well, I guess tomorrow morning I'll give it another shot. I'm sure these people respect persistence. So if anybody tries to tell you that it was only a couple of minutes or he didn't have much time or he didn't know what was going on, if you were under the idea that this all just happened over the course of a couple of minutes and the Sentinelese ambushed him, if you're under the idea that the Sentinelese ambushed him and he didn't know what was going on, you're dead wrong. He knew exactly what was happening. And he just kept coming back over the course of days. So he didn't get killed in one afternoon. He really got himself killed over the course of days. The next day, as he prepared to make another approach, Chow wrote a letter to his parents. Quote, you guys might think I'm crazy in all this, but I think it's worth it to declare Jesus to these people, he wrote. Please do not be angry at them or at God if I get killed. Rather, please live your lives in obedience to whatever he has called you to, and I'll see you again when you pass through the veil. This is not a pointless thing. The eternal lives of this tribe is at hand. I'm reading it the way he had it. The eternal lives of this tribe is at hand, and I can't wait to see them around the throne of God, worshiping in their own language, as Revelation 7:9-10 states. He signed off Soli Deo Gloria, glory to God alone. But his diaries revealed less certainty about the mission he was undertaking. Quote, if you want me to get actually shot or even killed with an arrow, then so be it, he wrote, addressing God. I think I could be more useful alive, though. Brothers and sisters, this fella right here was campaigning for the Darwin Award. I know he was talking to God, but he was campaigning for the Darwin Award. And unfortunately for him, he won. He won first place with flying colors. Unfortunately for him. And yeah, he was number one with a bullet, or with an arrow, whichever you want to call it there. But yeah, this guy right here was doing literally everything he could to get killed, and he succeeded. Quote, I don't want to die. Would it be wiser to leave and let someone else continue? Actually, it'd be wiser if none of you went there, but never mind. No, I don't think so. I still could make it back to the U.S. somehow, as it almost seems like certain death to stay here. Brothers and sisters, there was a rational part of his mind that was telling him, get the hell out of here. This was a bad idea. But the next time that somebody tells you, in the words of Neely Fuller, that white supremacy is a religion. Oh, the Black Channel is going 10-ton heavy with you here tonight. 360 degrees, 720 degrees from all directions. If you wanted absolute proof that white supremacy is a religion, that in the words of Neely Fuller, it is the strongest religion in A, the history of man, and B, on the planet today. If you wanted it, this guy had to face the idea of God, rational, telling him this is dangerous, and white supremacy saying, but you must convert these people to bow to the image of Caesar Borgia. He stopped listening to God and started listening to white supremacy. He was telling you, yeah, I was thinking this over, but the mandate that I uphold white supremacist principles of invasion and colonization and imperialism, that won out. That won out. That was what won. And you just saw a clear example of it. He's sitting there showing you the psychological schism that talking to God, God would say, hey, don't go to that island to die. But when he talked to his parents, it was about footballs and fish and getting them to accept me. All of a sudden, the priority was, I want them to accept me. And this is what a race war looks like. He gave the diary and letter to the fisherman and took a kayak back to the island. The next morning, according to a police statement, quote, the fisherman saw a dead person being buried at the shore, which from the silhouette of the body, clothing, and circumstances appeared to be the body of John Allen Chow. Now, let me tell y'all something right here. If somebody tries to call them savages, if somebody tries to call them barbarians, did you hear that there? The fisherman saw a dead person being buried at the shore. So these people, with no real interaction with the outside world for 30, 50,000 years, and yet the practice of burial of a dead body, they understand the necessity of burial of a dead body, something that Europeans did not understand until at least 500 or 700 years ago. They didn't truly understand why it's necessary to bury a body. And if you don't believe me, take a look at the Black Plague. That the Moors had to educate them about how to stop having that happen. So these people for 30, 40, 50,000 years, you can't say that they learned it from white people. You can't say that. You can't say that they learned it from white people. You can't haul that one out there and say, well, they came into contact with the Romans or the supposed white Egyptians or the Spaniards. You can't give them credit for that. How is it that the Sentinelese have been able to cook and clean, give medicine, and been able to make instruments of defense and burial The practice of burial, there's a dead body. You don't just leave it there. You don't just drag it into the woods. You bury it, and you bury it at a specific place. How is it that they know this and didn't need white folk to teach them, didn't need interaction with them? These are people who precede them. Brothers and sisters, I submit to you that North Sentinel Island is a macrocosm as well as a microcosm of the proof of we as Africans, as the creators of civilization on every single conceivable level. Need I say more? Need I say more? This story from The Guardian is really laying out that if you believe in the idea of white Egyptians, you're either a liar, a fool, or both. But how is it that these African people have been able to survive all this time, and something the Europeans didn't pick up on until this last millennium, these people have been doing for tens of thousands of years? So who taught the practice? The Europeans taught us, or we taught the Europeans? Better hang on to your hats. Old Jared and Richard will be falling over. 7 people, including 5 fishermen, have been arrested for helping Chow reach the island. The Indian government recently lifted a ban on tourists going there, but Dennis Giles, an activist for tribal rights in the Andamans, said state authorities still asked people to seek permission and the status of the island was, quote, a gray area. That's not good when you hear that. The island status is a gray area. No, it's supposed to be off limits. Police said Chow had visited the Andamans, which are scattered across the juncture of the Bay of Bengal and the Andaman Sea, 4 times in the past 3 years. His family posted on his Instagram on Wednesday that they forgave his killers and asked for those who helped him to be released. They said Chow was a beloved son, brother, and uncle, as well as a Christian missionary. He loved God, life, helping those in need, and had nothing but love for the Sentinelese people. We forgive those reportedly responsible for his death. Now, this is another part that the story goes on to say here, and I want you to keep this in mind in context of my earlier remarks. Keep this in mind in context of what I said about why they shoot people on sight. This is buried at the bottom of the damn article. It says the Sentinelese are estimated to number about 100. Like I say, it depends on who you ask, between 50 or 100 people, and are the most isolated of the 4 tribes native to the Andamans. British colonists kidnapped 4 members of the tribe in the 19th century, and Indian anthropologists managed to make limited contact with the community starting in 1967, but for the past 25 years, the group has been isolated from the outside world. Well, there you have it. No wonder they're shooting at people on first sight. Well, there you have it. The damn word got back to them. When you see white folks show up, bad things start happening. And oh yeah, how much would you all like to bet? How much would you all like to wager? How much would you all like to gamble that those British colonists who showed up with their Bibles talking about the love of Jesus right before they started looking around to see what resources they can get? How much would you like to wager? How much? How much you thinking about there? How much would you like to put on that? How much would you like to wager? I'm asking you, how much would you like to wager that was what happened when the British colonists showed up, and that was enough for them to see, okay, this how y'all gonna do it? There was some OG on that island who said, forget the bull crap, it's all about survival. It's all about survival. There was somebody on that island who said it's all about survival. The next time they show up on that beach, we lighten them up. I don't give a damn who it is. The next time they show up on that beach, don't ask no questions, just light them up. And if we keep killing enough of them, they'll stop coming. Well, that's not true. You're going to have to just keep doing it. But if you keep killing enough of them, they won't be able to take you away. If you kill enough of them, they won't be able to take you away. But somebody on that island was a Dr. John Henry Clark, and the tribal elder Clark told everybody, we ain't about integration and we're not about religion. It's all about survival. There was a Dr. John Henry Clark on that island somewhere, and he said the state religion is light 'em up. Next time they show up, they can say we can't read or write. We can damn sure our archery is up to par, though. Oh, you can't read and you can't write. Our archery is up to code. I bet you our archery is on point. Our archery is up to code. I bet you our archery is on point, though. I bet it is. While you're worried about that, I bet you our archery is up to code now, isn't it? Yeah, you can criticize everything else. Our bow and arrow game is elite. No, we don't know much about biology. Well, we know enough to survive. Don't know much about chemistry, but our archery is top 5. And as soon as we start letting loose on you, your track and field game is going to be incredible. So if you want to know the whole story of North Sentinel Island, you just learned it tonight. No reason to endeavor further. You just learned it tonight. And there are lessons that we as black people could learn. There are lessons that we as black people could learn from the story of North Sentinel Island. There are lessons the ancestors could have learned from North Sentinel Island. There are lessons they could have learned. And maybe, just maybe, things would have been a little bit different. Maybe, just maybe. Can't be 110% certain. But I strongly suspect that there are some lessons there for black people. I'm a firm believer of that. Now, there was a news story that was done on India Today. I mean, it's called India Today. I'm not talking about India on this day, Thanksgiving, but there was a story on India Today where they were talking about this. And I'm going ahead and I've opened up the telephone lines. The number is 646-787-1933. That is 646-787-1933. The No Thanksgiving Day broadcast of the BlackChannel.net radio program. Yes, we are alive and well. White supremacy does not take a holiday, and neither will we. So here I am. No football games. No turkeys, except the folk going to North Sentinel Island and the people eating one. This is what Intelligent Black Society does. A long-standing tradition of the Black Channel. So if you want to separate the real from the phony, here we are. You can go ahead and give us a call, 646-787-1933. That is 646-787-1933. I am here with you. You are here with me. And we are discussing the Pilgrims versus the Sentinels, among other things. Got a few thoughts about this Tekashi 6ix9ine issue also. A couple of things I thought we could learn there, but I do want to get back to North Sentinel Island. Lot we can pick up on here. Lot we can learn. Lot we could investigate. Lot we could investigate here. So it's very much worth your time. In the chat room, if you have had an issue with anything here, anybody who wanted to dispute it, the telephone number is open, and you all can explain to us why this was an intelligent thing for this fella to do. I'd very much like to see that. Very much like to see that. If you think that this was an intelligent thing to do. India Today over there. Let me go ahead and move this over a little bit. This is from the website India Today, in case you were wondering. Yeah, even over there in India, they're trying to figure out what in the world was this guy thinking. That's what they're trying to figure out, is what in the hell was this dude thinking? Was he thinking? That's what they're over there in India worrying about, because they're like, okay, we told him stay away from there. There he is. Man must have a death wish. You dared people to kill you. The moral of the story is don't dare people to kill you. Let's go ahead and take a couple of phone calls here. Caller from 706. You're on live with the Black Channel. Caller from 706. Last try. You're on live. Caller from 706 has been abducted. Caller from 772. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Brother Jason, this is Brother Herb in South Carolina.
Herb in South Carolina. Where at in South Carolina?
I'm sorry, did you ask a question?
Yes, where in South Carolina? That's a big state.
Oh, okay. I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, brother.
Greenville, South Carolina. I go through there often. What's on your mind?
Yes. I wanted to, with your permission, share some insight that I gathered. Being a student of history, I was watching a movie titled Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. And it was a dramatization of the murder of some Native Americans in Sioux City, South Dakota, by the U.S. Army, because the president had told them to stop doing their ghost dance, a spiritual ceremony which kept them in touch with their ancestors and their heritage. In the early minutes of this movie, they have a scene in a one-room schoolhouse. And there's a Native American boy with his hand in the air to answer a question that the teacher had posed. And she looked at him and ignored him. He was the only one who thought he knew the answer because no other students had their hands up. So finally she looked back at this young brother and she called him by his name, which I forget, the name that his parents had given him. And she told him, I'm not going to call on you until you select a white name. And only then will you be able to participate in class. So at this point, the camera zooms in on a book. She says, I put the book on your desk. Look through the book, find a white name that you like, and we'll start using that. Now, you can relate this to the docu-series Roots, where they told Kunta Kinte that his name was Toby. They wanted to separate him from his African heritage and his African ancestors.
Okay, can you give us, brother, can you give us the Reader's Digest version? We don't need a recitation of the film. So just, you've made that part. Get to the point.
When the camera showed a close-up of the book on the young man's desk, it says second edition of Christian names. So the white female school teacher was equating the word white with the word Christian. And when you go away with that understanding, a lot of the things that they've written becomes a whole lot more clear. Be one, brother. Stay strong.
Black First, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller from 727. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Black First, it's Ty from Florida.
Ty from Florida, what's on your mind?
Hey, yeah, I got a question. I got a doctor. He's from Africa. Well, he's not a doctor. He opened up a clinic and hired doctors. And I had mentioned to him about the minister, we call those people who go over there and minister to people over there, missionaries. And that's how he got over here in the States. But he made a remark that we don't know his history. And you taught us that black people over here have to show Africans the real black empowerment. He's just basically a missionary student. And he takes, he gets kind of heated when I try to mention something about Africa, like if we would have cut their throats when they put their feet on our island, on our land, we wouldn't have to deal with them today. But people like him who let those people over there and brainwash them with this Jesus Christ in the Bible, But anyway, like I said, this guy gets offended when I try to talk, something black about Africa. But he's so, I don't know, brainwashed being a missionary. And also he has a church over here in Tampa, So basically, that's all I got to say. Black first.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller from 516. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Good evening, Jason Black. This is Patrick. I'm calling from Hempstead, Long Island.
Patrick from Long Island, what's on your mind?
Well, first of all, I wanted to say Happy Thanksgiving Day. And speaking of killing, I remember last year I had mentioned on one of your programs about the Sentinel Island. I talked about them briefly a year ago in your program. And I talked about them. I talk about them on my Instagram program. Tariq Nasheed actually talked about them in the movie Hidden Colors 4. And these brothers in Africa, they're the smartest Africans on planet Earth. And I definitely tip my hat to them. I mean, this damn cracker went over there thinking that he was going to spread the gospel. But instead, them brothers wound up spreading his blood all over the damn sand. But now you got people in Africa, they don't do what these brothers in North Sentinel Island do. People in Africa, they welcome colonizers over there. You see the Chinese, they're all over Africa now. All over the place. They're over there setting up police stations over there. They're over there setting up all kind of businesses. And the people over there still have nothing. But you got these brothers on an island the size of Manhattan, when everyone is scared to death. And these guys, they have no advanced weapons, but they know that, first of all, they know white folks are a disease and are never to be trusted. And these brothers, although people call them primitive and all that kind of stuff, which is utter nonsense, they don't have AIDS over there. They don't have cancer over there. They don't have gonorrhea over there. All these diseases that you see people have over here, they don't have any of that.
Well, even if they did,
and they're supposedly the savages.
Even if you had all that, even if you had those diseases, even if you did, you know what else you don't have? You don't have police brutality. You don't have people hiding your history from you. You don't have people trying to breed you out of existence. You don't have people trying to teach you that you are biologically or intellectually inferior. You don't have, he's talking about the 10-year-old child who was shooting arrows at him or whatever. That's confidence. That's a 10-year-old with some confidence. Because here in America, 10-year-old black boys have their self-esteem decimated either by their mothers or by the schools by the time they get that old.
Uh-huh.
So that's something else you don't have on North Sentinel Island. That's something else you don't have there. You don't have people sitting up here telling your daughters that they need to be wearing weave. You don't have Nicki Minaj swinging her phony ass cheeks and telling you that this is what you need to be as a black female. You don't have people sitting up here telling you that you need to sit up here and sag your pants and that's funny to them. You don't have people telling you that running a football, and by the way, I did see, not the irony, because it's not really irony, but I did see the coincidence of that. I did see the symbolism in that this guy comes to a bunch of black folk on an island, gonna teach them how to be football players. And I wonder if that was the real point. He's coming to the island. Talk about a damn overseer. Talk about a damn colonizer. He sees a bunch of black folk, and he doesn't even come to them with a laptop. Usually what colonizers do is they come with the most advanced thing they have. This guy is going to come to them with a damn football. Well, I heard you people have in the words of Dr. Claude Anderson, an illicit relationship with a ball. I heard you all have illicit relationships with a ball, so I figured it works in Dallas, Texas. This ought to work on North Sentinel Island. And he found out the hard way that no, not really. So there's a lot of other things other than just diseases or mental issues. There's a lot of other things you don't find on North Sentinel Island and places that have been isolated from white supremacist contact. I noticed there's a couple of other things. You don't have a coonery problem. Self-hating Negroes sitting around wishing that they were anything other than North Sentinelese. Wishing they were something other than that. They don't need any magazines. They don't need social media. They don't need television. All the so-called advancements of the 20th century that they tell you give them the right to slaughter non-white people at Holocaust proportions. All of a sudden, you find a place that doesn't need that. Doesn't need that. Amazing.
Yeah, well, I hope black people over here could really learn a lesson, because there's so many lessons we could learn from them brothers. And that's why I keep on mentioning them. That's why I talked about them on my social media apparatuses that I have. And I hope other people continue to talk about these guys. There's so much. And, you'd mentioned how they have a code last year when I brought them up. And that's what we need. Neely Fuller gave us the answers a long time ago. All we need is a code. That's all we need. All we need is a code, but black people here still don't understand it. We still don't get it.
I'll let you have the last word.
Okay, well, my last word is this. Brothers and sisters that's listening to this program,
okay, I guess he's been abducted. They're grabbing him right and left around here. I'm going to take one more phone call, and then I want to play the story from India today when they were talking about Mr. Chow's trip to North Sentinel Island. Am I on, or? Okay, it's trying to get this connection back on Blog Talk is what it's trying to do here. So, okay, that wasn't him. That was on my end. But it doesn't really matter there. So I'll go ahead and try to reconnect them here in just a moment. But that was what happened on North Sentinel Island. I want to play the story from India today. Want to play the story from India today so you can all hear what they were talking about here. And this story is talking about how John Chow took himself over there. They're trying to figure out exactly what in the world he must have been thinking or whatever. I want to play the audio for it. I'll play the audio here for it so we don't get flagged by YouTube or anything. So you can hear this for yourselves and see exactly what are they saying about this in India. What is India saying about this? Well, here's what India is saying.
Maharashtra Chief Minister Fadnavis invites farmers for talks after 10,000 angry farmers reach Mumbai's Azad Maidan demanding loan waivers and land rights. He was 27 years old. He was from Washington State in the United States, and he had traveled all over the world as an adventure tourist, but also as a Christian missionary. American tourist John Allen Chow was just 27 years old, and he was killed just a few days ago by one of the world's most fragile tribes, the Sentinelese, on an Indian island called North Sentinel Island in the Andaman and Nicobar chain. But what happens now? And the big questions that must be asked. For an island that was off limits and is officially and legally out of bounds for anyone to visit, did this young man have any business going to that island? Was it not an irresponsible act and a foolhardy act that has finally led to his death?
Want to declare Jesus to them. Can't wait to see them around throne of God. My name is John. I love you. Jesus loves you. The final words of American adventurer and Christian missionary John Allen Chow on November 15, right before he was captured and killed at India's North Sentinel Island in the Andaman and Nicobar. Using the help of hired fishermen, John, a seasoned traveller, had arrived here at North Sentinel, a tiny forested island that's home to the Sentinelese. A highly fragile tribe with a population of less than 100 that chooses to live totally disconnected from the world's mainstream and has been known to violently defend their isolation from outsiders. While attempts have been made in the past to contact the Sentinelese, the population stands protected and the island is officially off limits under Indian law. So what business did John Allen Chow have visiting the island at all? Letters and journal entries confirm that he was visiting to attempt converting the Sentinelese people to Christianity. Sample these declarations John made in letters and journal entries right before his death. You guys might think I'm crazy in all this, but I think it's worth it to declare Jesus to these people. Please do not be angry at them or at God if I get killed. The eternal lives of this tribe is at hand, and I can't wait to see them around the throne of God, worshipping in their own language. John had begun visiting the Andaman Islands in 2015. His final visit began in October on a tourist visa. The police say he paid fishermen to take him to the island.
One of the fishermen who saw the John Allen Chow dead as alleged by him, as revealed by him, although he saw from a distance, and he arrived at this conclusion by seeing the silhouette, by the cloth, and by the other circumstances and the bodily features, although from a distance. So taking that prima facie as a first information, so we have registered case of murder and we have taken up the investigation.
What followed was a 2-day attempt to establish contact with the Sentinelese people from a fishing boat. His journal shows at first he offered them fish, but was chased back to his boat by young Sentinelese with bows and arrows. This continued for 2 days until the fishermen observed John's body being dragged on the beach after he was captured. An FIR has been registered by the police and the fishermen who helped John have been arrested, but the young American's body remains on the island. The death, while tragic, has thrown up a volcano of troubling questions. As an Andaman veteran, why did John break Indian law? Is an off-limits island not off-limits for religious conversion? Was this an act of shocking irresponsibility in the name of religion? Does church need to take part of the responsibility for his death? Could he have endangered the tiny tribe by bringing external diseases? Isn't this also a breach of security by Andaman authorities? The tragic death of John Allen Chow leaves behind a life of travels and adventures, mourned by his family in the United States and friends around the world. The questions surrounding his death will continue to resonate from one of the most isolated islands in the world. Bureau Report, India Today.
And before I go to our guests on this very troubling story that has got a lot of people commenting on it on social media, his family in the United States mourning the loss of a young man, and people in shock both in India and the United States about the circumstances in which John Allen Chow was violently killed on the North Sentinel Island in the Andaman and Nicobar chain. I want to first go across to India Today's Akshaya Nath, who joins me live from Chennai. She's been in touch with the police in Port Blair as well. Akshaya, a very disturbing incident. 27-year-old missionary from the United States meets a very violent end at the hands of the Sentinelese tribe, which is one of the most protected and isolated tribes on Indian territory on the North Sentinel Island in the Andamans. An FIR has been registered. The fishermen who facilitated his visit to that island have been arrested, but his body is still on that island, leading to a very peculiar situation because, Akshaya, we all know that this was an out-of-bounds, off-limits island. So at the very basic, John Allen Chow had no business going there.
Well, yes, certainly, Shiv. This seems to be a curious case wherein a young man trying to enter into a place and trying to do a religious conversion. It's very tragic how, people get into this delusion that they can do anything. And, it seems like he has bribed the persons, the 7 fishermen, to get him to that island. And now it seems like the family will not even have a proper funeral for their loved one, because this is an out-of-bound island. This is being protected region by the government of India. And at this point of time, the closest that the Coast Guard and the other officials can do is an aerial surveillance to see how the scenario is panning out there. But the big question is, who led this entire operation? Why was he so motivated to go there? And now we've seen that the family of John Allen Chow, they have reacted on social media and they've requested that the Indian government not take action on those 7 fishermen who had helped Chow. And they've also said that they're trying to forgive those people who killed their son. At this point of time, we need to even understand, the mentality of this tribe, because they are not people who have seen members from outside coming inside their village, and, somebody trying to breach into their territory would definitely have, made them feel threatened. So at this point of time, we need to see how the Andaman officials are going to take this into consideration. Will they be bringing in stringent laws or more stricter measures to avoid these kind of scenarios, Shiv?
Stay with me, Akshaya, because, there are many very questions regarding this story. And I want to bring in now Akshay Rawat. He is based in Port Blair, but he joins me live from Chennai now. He's a very well-known tour operator and entrepreneur who works in the Andaman Islands. We also have with us Arvind Kumar Jain, former Director General of Police of UP and a well-known former IPS officer. He's going to tell us what he thinks about the circumstances, of something like this actually happening, since there's a police case. And also George Kalivayalil, who's Associate Editor of the Deepika Daily, who joins us this evening from Bhopal. Good evening to all of you. Akshay Rawat, I want to come to you first. Your reading, Akshay, of this very tragic incident, but most people who are reading the story saying that this was a very irresponsible act. It was a breach of security. This was a traveler and a tourist who had been to the Andamans before. He knew the islands well. He knew that this particular island was off limits, and there was a very good reason why this island was off limits, and he still went there, Akshay.
I agree with you, Shiv, that this is an isolated and individual case about I agree with you, Shiv. I think this is a case about an individual tourist who's taken the surge of adventure too far. It is not easy to reach North Sentinel Island. Even I would have problem as a local to really reach this island. So he's taken a lot of efforts, and I think he's been extremely misinformed.
I think he's been extremely misinformed. Well, and no pun intended, I think he gets the point. Now, what do you think? Do you think he gets the point? Now, not saying it as a threat, not saying it to be mean. Nobody wants to see their loved one get skewered. Certainly no one wants to see their loved one perish in such a way. However, it certainly helps if the loved one does something to prevent himself from meeting his demise in this way. It certainly helps. So, of all the people who could have helped him, he could have done a lot to help himself. I did tonight's program. I've done tonight's program because I was trying to make a point to you here about how dedicated to the task and to the religion of white supremacy that these people are. I wanted you to see how far they're willing to go in order to make this work. I want you to see that when I tell you the words that they are willing to fight or kill and die, If you wondered if I was being facetious, if you wondered if that was the case, understand now that it isn't. Let's see if I can hear from caller from 443. You're on live with the Black Channel. Okay, I'm not sure if there's an issue going on with Blog Talk or not. Not sure if there's an issue going on with them there. Yeah, because I'm thinking there's something must be going on with them on their end or something. I'm wondering if that's the case. I'll try one more caller and see if that helps. Caller from 985, you're on live with the Black Channel. Okay, for some odd reason, that's not working. It's saying that I'm logged into it, but for some odd reason, it is not doing its thing for them there. So I'll see if we can get that straightened out. But what they are doing here is they are telling you that they are willing to die for this. They're telling you that this is what they put their life's work into. The meaning of their lives. That's what they're telling you. If you doubt that this is really a religion, then explain to me why it is that it superseded everything else. Explain that. If this is not, in fact, the state religion, if it isn't, then how in the world is it that they have so many people who are adherents and are willing to do this, if that is not the case? This is what a religion looks like, and they are willing to kill or die for it. Because it grants them their primacy. That's the point I'm trying to make. It grants them their primacy. It gives them control and power over other people. I want you all to think about this for a moment here, and I don't mean to besmirch the dead, but I've got to be honest with you. I just got to be straight with you here. Do you understand that under these circumstances, that they've literally got the ability to say, you know, if this guy had succeeded, I want you all to think about what happens if he succeeds at what he's doing. That's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about what happens if he succeeds at what he's doing. If this guy succeeds at what he's doing and is allowed to stay on that island and, quote, convert these people, do you all understand that he would have gone from being John Chow to being the chief priest of North Sentinel Island? Do you understand that? If he had been allowed to stay there, he would have become the chief priest of North Sentinel Island. Do you understand that? If he had succeeded, he would have been the religious leader of the island. Just that quickly. I don't know where he's from, but I don't think he's a religious leader wherever he's from. He would have instantaneously become the religious leader of North Sentinel Island. He would have had the ability to call hands. He would have had the ability to reject tribal leaders, people who have been in charge now for decades, who have kept the people alive. He would have been in charge. He would have been able to challenge tribal elders who had kept these people alive for centuries. All of a sudden, this outsider would have been there, able to overturn millennia of teaching, millennia of survival, millennia of culture. He instantaneously would have been able to go in and destroy this society from the inside and tell them that you were all backwards. You were all savages. You are lucky that I came here with A, the love of Jesus, and B, my iPhone. But you see, that's not enough. Now I've got to bring more missionaries to help me with you. I've got to bring more missionaries. Next come the merchants. I got to bring capitalists here because we have to service the missionaries because you guys have been backward. But don't worry, we got our own little spot over here. That's all we really need. We don't need anything more. We don't need anything more. I think I got the phone issue straightened out now, so if you're calling in, you should actually be able to hear us. But you don't need anything more. And then lastly, we're going to bring the military. All of a sudden, if this guy had done that, he would have insisted on private military contractors. But you see, the Indian government would have been powerless and helpless to stop it because at this point, it would have been the Sentinelese people saying that you can allow this. Once this guy gets himself embedded in as the representative of the people, then this fellow who don't look nothing like the people is all of a sudden going to be telling you that the American military being on North Sentinel Island is completely legitimate. Do you see how quickly that happened? Did you see how fast that occurred? Do you see how quickly they dismantled and destroyed your society from the inside with nothing more than a Bible in their hands? Do you see just that quickly? You see, we've connected the dots here. When I said 720 degrees, you thought I was fooling around. You've learned so much about why this had to happen. And the people of North Sentinel Island will survive. If this fella had been allowed to keep doing what he was doing, then those people were finished. We would be waking up in 20 years with a bunch of half black, half Asian children. With this guy, with his Jim Jones imitation. If you take a look at this picture, I'm going to go there right quick with you right here. I want you to go ahead and take a look at this picture if you can here. I want you to take a look at this picture here. Take a look at his face. I couldn't help but notice. I'm not going to say he was Jim Jones. I'm just going to say that some of that religious fanaticism, he kind of favors Jim when I kind of look at him a certain way here. Not besmirching the dead. Caller from 954, you're on Live with the Black Channel.
Yeah, brother, this is Arvind from Hawaii.
Arvind from Hawaii, what's on your mind, brother?
Listen, man, first of all, I call your number and I'm being charged a minute, right? I don't know why. And then I call on a different phone and it's still the same thing. So that's just to let you know, because people may be trying to call you and they're charging me a penny a minute.
Well, you might want to talk faster then.
Well,
you might want to talk faster if it's charging you a penny a minute.
Yeah, it's okay, brother. I'll get enough bottle caps in the mix. But anyway, Sentinel Island, man, I understand that reality because I've flown into Diego Garcia and I had my own business and we were flying cargo over there, you know. And these folks have also been adamant about not having anyone on those islands, which I understand. And to kind of backtrack on something that you're saying, and this is going into the Amazon gig in Queens, New York, you know, white man's history is not written in stone. I don't give a damn where they set up shop at, nowhere on this planet. Their stuff is not written in stone. Amazon can have what they have and build up their infrastructures and everything else. Just like when 9/11 happened, South Beach, Florida, all the way up to Melbourne, and I've been in your state in Shreveport, you know, they built all those condominiums there, and no one's occupying them. They got one called the Aquilina. South Ocean Drive, Collins Avenue, A1A is the same strip in South Beach, Florida, Southeast Florida. And I lived in Hollywood, Florida, Sunny Isles, and Bell Harbor. So these white folks with their scams and schemes and thinking that they can go over there, and this little particular island, there's an island here in Hawaii that they don't touch. It's not as extreme as these brothers, you know, and the only thing, it ain't even a military advantage point for these people. You know, so if they wanted to, they could go in there and decimate them. But these cats ain't messing with nobody, you know. And the other thing is, man, yeah, we need to stay on code. And how we stay on code is our economics. And I've heard people call into you and discuss things. And, you know, you get impatient at times. But I tell you one thing. We get on code. We refuse to fight for this damn country. Don't pick up a weapon from it. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I just reached my 67th birthday, brother, November 18th. And I know how you feel about elders, certain elders, and how you reflected on that before. That's okay, too, you know. But the thing is, this generation and what we are going through right now in this history, if we do not stand our ground with our economics, just like the brothers did before the Deacons for Defense, him and his wife, what was it, Robbie Williams, I believe it was, him and his wife, and the Panthers, all of that, 1804, the whole bit. We know what time it is. These crackers cannot go over to the Sentinel Island and talking about cannibalism, and they ain't even interested in these people, let alone want to eat them, you know? So
no,
anyway,
they don't have
I'm
their best
supporting you. I want my kids to hear race war. And one question I got to ask you, man. Why could you not have opened up at the Apollo in New York? You went back there twice with race war.
Because I wanted to open at the SVA. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Why didn't I open at Staples Center? Why didn't I open at the MGM Grand? Caller from 985, please tell me you can do a bit better. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, peace, Jason. Bryson from Thibodeau, Louisiana.
Bryson from Louisiana, what's on your mind, brother?
Yes, sir, man. Another great broadcast as usual. First-time caller, long-time supporter. Man, it's just crazy. I was in Walmart the other day. I got my own truck and all that stuff. And most of our people, man, we've been colonized, man. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I mean, you picked the perfect subject on a day that's pretty much the biggest day for colonization as far as America's concerned.
Definitely, I understand that. Your phone's coming through really muddled, brother. Let me give you a chance to call back. Your phone's coming through real muddled. Folks on the phone, please, let's do better than this. Caller from 443, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Mr. Black.
That's me.
Can you hear me?
What's your name? Where you calling from?
How are you? I'm calling from Maryland.
Okay, what's your name?
Jason Black. I need to turn off my audio.
Okay.
How are you?
Yes. Okay.
You know,
let's not keep doing this. Oh my! This is ridiculous here. What the hell is your name?
Dolores.
Hello, Demoris. Okay, we finally got Demoris. Demoris is in Maryland. Where at in Maryland?
Frederick, Maryland.
Hello, Demoris from Frederick, Maryland. What's on your mind? That only took 2 minutes.
I like that you're covering the story about the young man that went over to the tribe to colonize. and I just tuned in to your program, and I don't have any. Actually, I have nothing to say. I just like listening to you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight here. Caller from 773, you're on live with the Black Channel. Oh my God, if I dare try this.
Yes, hi. This is Erica calling from Chicago, Illinois.
Hello, Erica from Chicago. What's on your mind?
Okay, yes. So in regards to the story that you're referring to, just to piggyback on what you were saying, the colonizers, what they do, not only do they just take your land and just commit genocide against the people, they also take your psyche. They take everything about you, who you are, and what you know about yourself and your tribe and from the past. That's why you have so many black people of today still suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, because the best way to control people is that you make them believe that, hey, you need me here. Without me, you're nothing. And just that is in harmony with what you said previously about, hey, you can't read, you can't write. Here, let me teach you. Because, see, this gentleman, he had that imperialistic mindset or that godlike mindset, and unfortunately, that was his dealing. That brought his death. So hopefully, I do hope that no one else tries to go back over that island to disturb
don't
them.
hold your breath.
But this is only the beginning.
Don't hold your breath. They're going to keep trying. Understand something.
Yeah.
In the mind, Dr. John Henry Clark said it, and if we don't interpret it properly, we don't understand. In the mind of the European, and white supremacy is the quintessential idea of the European concept, everything that moves for war. Everything that moves for war. Therefore, there is no circumstance under which you can own anything. In the words of a Roman general, who asked, when one of his troops asked him, why do we have to invade? I think it was either Ireland or Scotland. I want to say it was Ireland. Why do we have to invade them? He said, because unoccupied people give ideas to occupied people. People who are not under our control and dominance, people who are under our control will start to get ideas if they see people who are not under our control. What do you think happened to black people in America? They had hundreds of years of bliss until we started making contact with unoccupied, undominated peoples. And the more we saw, the more we didn't want to be occupied and dominated. So you see, it is essential that every piece of land out there be under their control. This is something that white society understands endemically, that they conquered the world around the world, especially since the A-bomb. They got the upper hand on everybody. That even if they don't have, even if they don't own the government, they've got the military that could very easily wipe another place out. We got the upper hand. And everything is about maintaining the upper hand. So you can't understand this. This is a never-ending siege on non-white peoples, on African people. North Sentinel Island, Africa, South America, this is never going to end. This will never stop. The only thing we can do is protect ourselves. But we first have to protect ourselves mentally. Now, you made a very good point right there where you're saying that he's going to go to this place and tell him you're nothing without us. Do you understand something? You touched on a very good point here. I was watching a video from L2, Professor Scott Galloway of NYU University, and if you all haven't seen it, business professor there. Brilliant guy, by the way. He's correctly predicted so many things that it's really kind of scary. But in any case, he was talking about how Apple is going to get together with Amazon and probably start giving some discounted phones and things, which of course is going to irreparably damage their brand if they do so. And he was talking about profit margins, and that there are only two ways to increase a profit margin. Number one, you increase the brand value. Now, what have I told you all branding is? Branding is nothing more than perceived value. Value above and beyond what the object actually does compared to other objects. It is its perceived value. So number one, if you can increase the brand value of something. So it's the same phone we've been making. It only costs us $150 to make it. But if we increase the brand value, that having an Apple phone is better than a Samsung or an LG because it makes you cooler, it makes you hipper, it makes you smarter, it makes you more in touch with the environment, it makes you more spiritual, it makes you more whatever, when in reality, people who own iPhones are the least technologically savvy people among phone users, by the way. These are usually middle-class people. People who own iPhones are the least technologically savvy. They need customer service because they don't know how to work a phone. Basic things that people with Samsungs and LGs do on their own. Folk with iPhones, they need a customer service person to hold their hand because they are not technologically as savvy. But there's a group of people that they're specialists at their jobs. They might be doctors, they might be lawyers. So they're specialists at being doctors or lawyers or teachers, but they don't know a damn thing about cell phones. And Steve Jobs created a device for people who are experts at everything except a cell phone, and then he charged them an outrageous premium and told them, hey, this device is great for you. Never mind the fact that you cannot directly import music of your own to the device. You got to go through iTunes, and if you can get through that. Never mind the fact that there are websites you can't use, a bunch of apps you can't use, that Samsung, the Android users are able to use every day, transferring files from one phone to another. By the way, most phones on earth are not iPhones to begin with, but being able to do simple things like transfer files from one phone to another over Bluetooth, can't do that with Apple. You gotta have, what's that, AirDrop or something. These people are on the outside looking in, but they've created a community of myopic people who have middle-class incomes who don't mind being on the outside looking in while they all sit around and comfort each other in their walled garden. That's raising brand value. That's raising brand value. So you're telling these people that their ignorance is actually an asset by showing commercials of 1984 or showing commercials of being cool, or, you know, we think ahead or move forward or whatever. You know, there's Apple think, you know, the slogan should be think again. But that's what they do. Never mind the fact that the screens are made by Samsung. Apple's iPhone screens are made by Samsung. So you'll have plenty of people who will tell you that the screen on their iPhone looks better and works better than Samsung. And I always want to ask them that first, and then I tell them, you do know that that screen is made by Samsung, right? Samsung owns the patent. Apple gets those screens from Samsung. They don't get them from anybody else. Samsung makes the screen on your iPhone. Then watch their jaws drop, and then watch them tell you something else. Well, the phone works faster. It works better. It just works quicker. And then I sit there next to them and get somebody with an Android, and it's the same. So what did you really buy? You bought branding. You bought branding. They told you that, well, our parts are made better, it looks better, it moves better. That's what they told you. But in reality, you're a bunch of people who are experts at everything except cell phones, and there's a company that capitalized on it with marketing, and they raised the brand value. That is what these people going to North Sentinel Island are trying to do. They're trying to raise their own brand value by promising you that, look, I'm better than you are because I brought a religion. I'm better than you are because I brought a football. Now, here's the trick of it. Here's the trick, Erica. Here's the trick. The trick of it is, how well were the people of North Sentinel Island getting along yesterday without that Bible, without that cell phone, without that football? Did those people need that yesterday, last week, last month? At what point were they desperate to get a Bible or a cell phone or a football? At what point did these people need that? So these folk were getting along just fine without any of those things, and then all of a sudden this guy shows up and convinces you that your life was incomplete and that you were lacking something. Now, you didn't know this thing existed before this jackalope showed up. And by the way, I damn sure hope the Sentinelese took his damn football and threw it in the middle of the damn ocean. or burned it or whatever. Last thing in the world we need is a bunch of Negroes on the other side of the world trying to figure out how to run. Jerry Jones will be sitting out on his yacht a mile away looking through binoculars saying, oh, that nigga runs kind of fast there. Let's see if we can sign him to a $5,000 a year deal. Let's see if we can do that. Mm-hmm. That's what'll happen. Or Larry Flint and Hustler Magazine will be sitting up there with their telescopes. Oh, yeah, look at the ass on that one there. We can bring her with us. She'll be the next Lupita. This'll work out grand. Yeah, brothers and sisters, I'm thinking this way. You got to think about this from every single angle. The poison pill may have already been planted. And yet, if you haven't thought about this, those are artifacts being left behind. Young, impressionable minds will be looking at it. This stuff feels different. It smells different. What is it? What is it? I'm hoping that didn't happen. I'm hoping that they just say, you know what, bury this bastard and his ball, and we're done with it. And yes, what they said in that news thing, what if he brought a disease with him? What if he brought an illness with him? The whole damn island will be annihilated with him talking about, well, it was God's will. No telling what he has, what he's done. We don't know anything about him. He'll wipe out the whole damn island under the auspices, look it up, under the supposed aim of saving their souls. He'll wipe out the damn island. They'll all be dead and gone. And with him sitting here talking about, oh, I didn't know that there. Well, you know. No, brothers and sisters, this is what survival looks like.
Yes.
I'll let you have the last word.
You are so correct, Mr. Black. White people, they know that they are in survival mode, so they are going to do whatever they possibly can to expand uncharted territories for themselves. And I greatly appreciate how you brought about with Apple and Samsung. When I let people know that, you know, the face for Apple, Samsung's the one that has a patent for it, they do just drop, but it just goes according to how white people think. Again, they just have this godlike that since they're white, that they could do whatever they want to do and so please. And the thing is, Apple, this guy, he tried to make himself shiny, appear like, hey, you need me. Number one, they didn't need you all these thousands of years. So what makes you think that they need you now? Who was to say that he had some type of disease and because it sounds like he purposely had a death wish and he knew that he was going to die. What about if he knew they was going to die, that disease could be released over time? It could decay. We don't know. These people are sick. White supremacy they are sick. They are a cancer to society. They are a cancer, and that is something that we as black people don't understand. It's like we want to just gravitate towards them. And it really gets me angry the way how I see Africans are going right back under doing the same thing instead of learning from these individuals who obviously were their ancestors. This is very irritating. We are at war. They are robbing us mentally. And for some odd reason, we are still asleep. We see nothing wrong. You see in the little news and stuff like that, they want to make light of the situation. They over here saying he just wanted to spread the word of Jesus. He wanted to do this and he wanted to do that, and then they have the sad music in the background and so forth, trying to appeal to the hearts of these so-called white supremacy so that they can say in their mind, you know what, let's go over there and let's come there in full force and let's try to teach. If not, let's go over there and see what we could bring them to say, hey, here's a shiny trinket that's coming from our area. Let's do something about that. And then next thing you know, the mercenaries are over there. And then we have white men that's over there raping our black woman over there and killing the black men. White man has a sick, deviant mind towards black men, especially with their genitalia, everything. They are in survival mode. They are going to do whatever they possibly can to integrate with us. To reproduce with us. And we just have to. I just really wish that we individually, we could start thinking critical.
Well, that's what we're
critical
here for.
Thinking is needed.
That's what we're here for.
And it's not happening.
Well, that's what we're here for. Understand, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, this was the only place conversations like this were happening. Today, they're having that conversation all over the world. So understand, this would have gone a lot different before now. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, sister. Please do give us a call again. I'll take one more phone call here. Let me get caller from 513. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, what's going on, Brother Black? This is Charles from Cincinnati.
Charles from Cincinnati, what's on your mind, brother?
I've been listening to your program on and off for a few years. This is my first time getting a chance to speak to you. I want to say I thank you for everything you're doing, you know, and I'm impressed and I see everything you're doing. And my only, I don't really want to say criticism, and I just hope that you take this really like, you know, I'm not really trying to get at you, but what I'm saying is when I listen to you, I feel like you could be more of a teacher, but with a lot of times you down a lot of people. Everybody's not intellectually on the same level, so we can't, like, our people really need to be taught more better, you know, like, so when you try to, like, I don't know, like I work at the IRS, so, like, you know, the stuff that I deal with is complex. What you deal with is complex, so we need people that can break it down on a level of where it's like more of a child's play, like a child can understand it, but not to the point where you belittling them. Because I just feel like when you belittle somebody, that makes them not want to really become more intellectual because they feel, I don't know, it's just a certain way of doing things when it comes to having communication skills with people. And I just feel like if you think about like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., and a lot of Marcus Garvey had it, it's a certain thing you got to have to really be able to communicate with people to get the masses. Because I think you could have a much broader audience if you was willing to kind of, you know, I'm not going to, you know, always try to make people feel, I feel like you make a lot of people feel dumb. And I kind of think that can kind of be a hindrance to the culture and the movement. And, you know, I just wanted to throw that out there. But at the end of the day, everything you're saying is right and correct. You always bring facts, and that's very important. But, you know, I just think you can, you know, I see you ascending. I think you can ascend if you just kind of, you know, look at some communication skills that you might be able to, you know, just take to a different level. But I appreciate you giving me the time.
Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't cut him off, did I? I didn't cut him off. I didn't hang up on him, so no one can accuse me of being rude. But for some strange reason, I just, and yes, he could hear it, but that just tells you some folks just want attention. So, no, I didn't hang up on him, though. No, I didn't do that. No. Very briefly here, I guess I got to go ahead and say this since I was about this. Okay, this happened. So the feds have stepped in, and Mr. Hernandez, and that is his real name, as a matter of fact, this fella they keep calling Tekashi 6ix9ine, Daniel Hernandez, running around claiming to be a gang member. Well, the U.S. Attorney's Office has decided to take him up on his gang member credentials. And one of the things that they said is that because of his music and his social media, that those things that he posts he says in his music and posts on social media, that stands as evidence that he is all the things he says. So a country music singer about liquor and alcohol, that doesn't constitute proof that if they get arrested for a DUI, their song doesn't constitute proof. Their social media doesn't constitute proof. But when it comes to the rap music industry, when it comes to a place that's disproportionately black, all of a sudden, what you talk about and post on social media is to be taken deadly seriously. So I might get back to this later. Then again, I might not. It just depends on how I feel about it here. So whatever. Back to the telephone lines here because I'm a glutton for punishment. Caller from 832, you're on live with the Black Channel. Caller from 832, last try, you're on live.
Hello?
Okay. Caller from 832 is playing with her toenails. Caller from 314, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hello, my name is Tyreek Barnes from St. Louis, Missouri.
Hello, Tyreek from St. Louis, Missouri. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, I just wanted to know, we're at November 25th. Is Race War still coming out this month?
Well, clearly you haven't been paying attention. I just posted today that it'll be available for streaming next week.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You know, if we really want to survive, we can't be this damn slow. I mean, if we really want to survive, people, we can't be this slow. I'm just saying. Caller from 678, you're on live with the Black Channel. Caller from 678, get off the pipe.
Hi, Jason. This is Desi. I was just calling.
Turn off your speakers behind you, you morons! Turn off your speakers behind you, you mouth-drooling idiot!
I'm sorry.
You moron! Turn off your speakers behind you, you mouth-drooling idiot!
And this asshat still has her speakers on. This is amazing. I know you're a baby mama. You're definitely a baby mama. If you're not, you're a baby mama with miscarriages. Oh my God.
So I apologize.
You are the jump off.
Hello?
What the hell is your name?
Okay. I was going to ask. My name is Desi. I am in Dallas.
Your name is Dizzy? Your name is Dizzy. I can believe that.
Desi.
Dizzy. Dizzy? Yes, people, I know. She said Desi.
Like Desi Arnaz?
2/3 of Ditzy, but yes, where are you calling from, Desi?
Dallas, Texas.
Desi from Dallas, Texas. And what is on your mind, Desi?
While you were doing the show about the Seminole Indians and everything, and I agree with everything they did, I was just wondering, what are your opinion about the race war being started up in South Africa and how the white Africans are being forced off to their land, well, off of the African land, the black African land, but they are getting ready to actually go into full-fledged war. And I was just wondering your opinion about that.
Okay. Desi, do me a favor, will you?
Yes.
Do me a favor.
Uh-huh.
Hang up the phone.
What?
Just hang up.
Okay.
Just click. Hang it up. Yeah, just hit the little red button. Just hang up. Red button, hang up the phone. Push the 2 buttons on the top of it. I don't know if you have a rotary dial or whatever. Just hang up the phone. Yeah, just do that. Yes. I have lost enough brain cells sitting here talking to you. I've lost enough of them. I have just lost 5 brain cells. I may never be able to recover, so there you go. It's Thanksgiving, and what do you know? If you all want to know why this fella thought that he could go to North Sentinel Island, if you all really want to know the reason why he thought he could go there, the last 5 phone calls I've gotten, except for Erica, that was the reason he thought he could do it. He was like, hell, you see what's happening in America? I bet the rest of them like that. So there we go. Caller from 832, you're back again. Are you awake?
Yes, hello, hi.
What is your name?
My name is Lisa. I'm from Houston, Texas.
Turn off your speakers, Lisa. I don't know what it is with the ladies tonight that they are calling in with their speakers going behind them. I guess listening on the phone isn't alert enough. And then people are going to say, Jason Black, like that jackass who called earlier. Jason, sometimes you be going off on people. Sometimes you be just, you need to have more patience with them, Jason. Remember the guy said that, and then right after he got off the phone, take a look at what happened. So then they're going to say that the problem is me. Please understand that. They're going to listen to all these phone calls, and the bastard babies and the hood rats and all these moist Negroes are going to tell you that the problem is me. That's the part right there that is just astounding. They're going to hear this and say the problem isn't the callers. The problem is Jason. He just needs to get better at what he does. All right. Yes, I'm brothers and sisters, the Black Channel is North Sentinel Island. Wait a minute. No, can't do that because then, I don't know. Maybe I need to have a North Sentinel Island policy for the Black Channel. I don't know what it is. Anyway, you know what? I've forgotten already. What was your name again? Lisa from Houston?
Yes, it's Lisa from Houston.
Lisa from Houston.
What are your thoughts on, a directory for Black-owned businesses?
My thoughts on a directory for Black-owned. My thoughts on a directory for Black-owned businesses.
What are your thoughts on, because how I'm thinking about all the things that are happening these days, and I guess ultimately, long story short, I'm thinking, what if there was an app that showed Black-owned businesses, like a map?
Lisa, what is the
map out Black-owned businesses?
Lisa, do you own a business?
Yes.
Okay, what business do you own? We'll give you a chance to plug it here.
It's a freight business. Freight brokerage.
You own a freight business?
Yes.
Oh, good. What's the name of it? I'd like to see if we can send some business your way.
Well,
okay. Lisa, do me a favor. First of all, don't flush the toilet while you're talking to me right now. Press the button on your phone and hang up. Do me a favor. Go ahead and hang up the phone. Last call, I swear. Last call. Caller from 360, because you can't possibly do any worse than the last four. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Black first, this is Taisha from Seattle. Good evening.
Hello, Taisha from Seattle. If I start slurring my words during this call, it's probably because I'm attempting desperately to hang on to consciousness. This has been this might be the last Thanksgiving program I ever do. This has been a brutal ass experience. It really has. This has been torturous. I mean, at least if I do, I won't take phone calls. If I do it, I'm probably going to do another Thanksgiving broadcast. I'm probably going to keep doing that. But I mean, seriously, this has just been, it's been mortifying. It's been absolutely mortifying to see this. It really has. Anyway.
This is painful.
Okay, imagine being on my side of it. All you've had to do is just listen. I've had people calling up, hello, Jason. Hello, Jason. And another thing here. All right. If you want to know why Tekashi 6ix9ine thinks he can take over rap music, if you want to know why John Chow thought he could go to North Sentinel Island with a football and a bucket of salmon, now you know why.
Exactly. Please do not let this be your last Thanksgiving broadcast, because I've been listening to it since 2015.
Well, if I stroke
I heard
out.
the brother call in from my hometown of Cincinnati, and he straight just sunk. The dude that called from Hawaii, I thought that he was going to take it back home, but he didn't. So I'm going to try to bring it home with this. Bringing us back to topic, John Chow going to North Sentinel Island is the reason why we why they feel as though they can come and conquer black minds worldwide. Because when we sit down to talk about getting armed, militarizing, and establishing self-perseverance like our brothers and sisters did on North Sentinel Island, there was an article I read where there was a 10-year-old who shot his bow and arrow and hit his ass in his Bible. That's how you stick it to people that come in and try to take over your freaking land, take over your freaking people, and put your children in danger. Our children are out here stuffing their faces, getting ready for Christmas, but we don't have children that we are teaching to defend themselves, defend our homes, and defend their future, because we want to sit here and BS on the phone when we have a platform to talk about legit stuff like business, perseverance, self-determination, all kinds of that. We come in asking questions. Can we have a black business directory? Dumb. All you gotta do is use Google. I swear we're in the era of smartphones and dumb people, okay? How you gonna come calling the black channel asking stuff you can Google? You have a computer connected to the internet in your hand, which coincides with what you said about the smartphones, okay? We're sitting here talking about the blueprint that these people who don't have the internet, who have never been into the military, who do not have all of the things that we have right now, were able to defend their home front. This brings in everything 360, from 7 a.m. to race war to gentrify. This is what we're trying to break down so people stay on point and learn something, okay? Y'all sat around the table today eating food that y'all got on y'all EBT cards you're going to throw away by Saturday, but y'all ain't sat down to talk about how you're going to protect yourself, okay? We are sitting up here going to grandmama's house, who is going to get kicked out that damn house as soon as she died, and she ain't leave nothing for us but a raggedy Bible, okay? We're talking about how they're using the Bible, the oldest trick of the game, to still continue to try to get our black asses and wipe us out.
Well, finally, a sensible caller. Now I'm afraid to hang up on you.
I love you too.
I'm afraid to hang up on you now, because God knows what's gonna happen next. I'm afraid to hang up. I really am. I'm afraid to hang up now. I'm scared to death. I think
I can keep going.
No, I'm talking about at least like for every day. When I come back Saturday, I might want to just have you as I was going to take calls. Now I'm just going to take one call. Hello, Taisha. And then that'd be it right there. Just as protection for myself. Just as protection for me. Oh. Well, thank you for restoring my faith in the phone lines. We got smartphones. Seriously. Remember, people, I told you all that we got smartphones and dumb people. We got high-speed internet and low-speed intellect. I coined the phrase, and tonight it has just borne it out. It really, really has. It really, really has. I'll let you have the last word.
I swear, it's something in the tap water. It's something in the tap water. I'm telling you, like, for real. I saw this firsthand when I lived on the island of Oahu. The indigenous people there were pushed to the west side of the island, while the colonizers, the invaders, the pirates, while y'all up here watching football, look at those names behind those football teams. The Pirates, the Raiders, okay? There's a reason behind that. The Buccaneers, okay? They came and demolished and took over the indigenous people who were there. Pretty soon, it's going to be tent cities. It's going to be more people begging for church handouts. Jesus ain't coming to save no goddamn body. When you take yourself to church on Sunday, okay, they are lullabying you to make you more receptive to their invading, to them pushing you out and not putting up a resistance to hold it down for your black self and your black future. So get your mind right and become black first. And that's all I got to say about that. Black first. Looking forward to the next broadcast. Please come back next Thanksgiving, because not all of us is on that BS. Love what you do.
Well, assuming I don't stroke out, yes. Thank you very much, Taisha. You've saved the phone lines tonight is what you've done. And of course, to show my gratitude to you, I'm going to take another phone call. Caller from 770, because I just refused to end on a good note, apparently. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, Jason, how you doing? This is Gary from Atlanta.
Can't you tell I'm doing horrible here, Gary? What's on your mind?
I'm just tripping off these calls, but I wanted to say that it's ironic because I was in the Navy, and I seen I helped with Operation Indonesia with the tsunami, and what happened with that was we went over there to Indonesia, and we saw of course the Hispanic Asian looking people, and then we saw butt naked black people, and I asked one of the Asian people, I said, where they come from? And he's like, oh, they always been here. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. He said the Spaniards tried to kill them off years ago. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is black people have always been all over the world. And the thing is that they've been killing them off. So that Sentinel Island situation, that shows you that they're trying to, like you said, trying to take over that island for tourist attractions. Because I watched a documentary on that, and that's what they were trying to do. They took off one half of the island, killed the people off, and now they're trying to take over the other half of that island. So, that I get the point you're trying to say. Like, look, be like those people. Defend yourself. Protect yourself. Be smart. You know what I'm saying? Don't just let people take over your neighborhood.
Let me give you something to think about.
Your kids or anything of that situation.
Let me give you something to think about. When you use terms like segregated, when you use terms like the white side of town, when you use terms like sundown town, when you use terms like gated community or exclusive community, do you all realize that's just a white version of saying North Sentinel Island? Driving while black, that's just another way of saying North Sentinel Island. That's just another way of saying that. When we go where they are and they have dominance, they're shooting black folk. You have never heard of a white person being killed for going into the black side of town simply because they were white. You've never seen it. It might have been a white person going around a bunch of poor black folk and somebody robbed them, but it wasn't they got hurt or killed simply because they were white. You go to North Sentinel Island and you get killed for being an outsider. But if black folk go into an Asian store, Chinatown, an Asian hair care store, you're liable to not come out of it, or at least to get yourself assaulted. But you never hear about that when it comes to us. So these people already are on their North Sentinel Island while telling you and me that we don't need to be. I just find that rather ironic. The people who've already established their North Sentinel Islands, and remember at one point the entire state of Oregon was a North Sentinel Island, but then they come and tell you that there's something wrong or weird about us. Interesting. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, my last word is, ironically, I watched a show on Netflix called Penny Dreadful, and the actor Josh Hartnett on season 2 was talking about how they controlled the Native Americans, and he was saying like how they went in and they took the children, and they said that's how they destroyed the nation. They took the children and they took them and taught them how to, do English, and they changed their name from Sakachwa to John. And he said when they ran back home, the people were like, no, we can't have you. Why you can't have us? Because we don't know you. So that's what they did to black people. They took us from Africa or even from America, and they changed us. And that's what you have. You have the intellectual blacks, the B1s, and you have the people in the middle, and you have the thugs. So the question is, we have to realize what we are, and we need to stand for something, and we need to protect ourselves. That doesn't mean to become gun-ho and like, yeah, let's kill all these white people. No, it means that you need to get you a gun, learn how to shoot that gun, learn how to hunt, learn how to read. All the black people listening, because I see it's 1,500 people in here, you need to do that for your children. Prepare them for war, but the correct way. Be one, brother.
Black first, brother. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me try it now. This one, I wonder if this is who I think it is. Caller from 347, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hi, Jason. Dwayne from Brooklyn. It's my second time calling in. I just have to say thank you for a very entertaining broadcast. I really, really enjoyed this broadcast. I'm going to be very brief. I just wanted to say that you've inspired me to start my own business. I actually opened a business in Brooklyn. It's a restaurant. I'm not going to name drop because I'm not trying to broadcast, but just information that you bring, man, is really telling as to what we really need to do, which is to get our economics up. And so,
well,
Black First Brother,
well,
I
slow
thank you
down,
for everything.
slow down. I mean, you can say the name of it. That's not a problem.
It's called Savvy Bistro. It's 5 minutes from Barclay.
Okay, it's Savvy Bistro. Did you say it's 5 minutes from Barclay?
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Okay, is that on Atlantic or where is it exactly?
Oh, not too far from Atlantic, actually. It's between St. Mark and Prospect.
By the way, I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana, and I know New York better than a lot of New Yorkers do, by the way. 5 boroughs, and then I'm like, okay, Barclay, all right. And then there's Junior's Cheesecake or whatever that is out there also with a bunch of people and no parking, which is really crazy. But definitely, okay, so 5 minutes from Barclays Center, Savvy Bistro, everybody, if you're in town.
5-minute drive.
If now, what street exactly is it on?
It's on Nostrand, between St. Mark and Prospect.
Oh, okay, so you're actually on Nostrand. Okay, so you wouldn't be too far from where my billboard was.
Nah, not that far.
Okay, you're not too far from the billboard was. Okay, so Savvy Bistro, definitely if you're in the New York area, drop by, check it out. Let us know if it's good or not. Definitely holler at me in the future, brother. I'm going to be glad to hear from you. Let me get caller from 757. I got a few minutes extra. You're on live with the Black Channel. Okay, caller from 757 is not with us, actually. Caller from 301, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Yes, hello, TBA. This is D calling from Laurel, Maryland. I just have a quick question. I've listened to your show for a while, but I've never think I've heard you speak about the famous Black intellectual by the name of Thomas Sowell. I just wanted to ask you if you could give your brief opinion on him and his writings and his work and his opinions, if you've read him at all.
My opinion of Thomas Sowell is that he's about half as useful as some of the callers who call in. That's my opinion of Thomas Sowell. That any good he could possibly do is subverted by the fact that basically he's a coon. So I don't need. And then, I don't need to take economic or okay. I don't need to take economic or history lessons from a coon. I don't have to take that from him. If you don't know that Thomas is a coon, I can't help you. Oh, we got another one with speakers on. Caller from 646. You're on live.
Hey, Jason Black. What's going on, man?
What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Dre, calling from New Jersey.
We're at in New Jersey.
Third time calling the broadcast.
We're at in New Jersey.
Bloomfield,
New Jersey. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm just saying that thanks. Last time I talked to you, gave me a tip about Nashville, and I'm going to go down there. I'm going to Hawaii tomorrow, but I'm going to take maybe like a 4-day, 5-day trip, and I'm going to go and look at Nashville myself on foot with my wife. And I got a realtor sending me things on realtor.com. I looked it up, and hey, it's looking good.
It's looking very good, and all of you can thank me for the game, because when I made Gentrified, I made everybody hip. If you have not been through Nashville, Tennessee, and this was 3 years ago, going on 4 years ago when I said it then, I was like, if you're not hip to the game of what's happening in Tennessee, you're missing a lot. So it's all coming to pass. This Amazon thing is going to put rocket boosters on it. So definitely you are looking at the last years of affordable housing in Nashville, Tennessee, in Davidson County. And to be totally honest with you, I don't even know if Nashville's the best place to even be looking anymore. You might need to be looking closer to Memphis or Chattanooga, because now you're going to start seeing skyrocketing there. You're probably going to want to start looking at Memphis or Chattanooga, because they chose Nashville for a reason. everybody in Tennessee knows that Memphis is the population median in the United States and knows that that's why FedEx's hub is there. So what, and if you're in Memphis, you're just right across the state line from Arkansas. So that's really a prime place to be. I'm just letting you know where my thought, I'm just giving you all a heads up on it. I'm just giving you a heads up about that. So definitely in Nashville, get in where you fit in. Is with Amazon coming, that's definitely going to skyrocket. But if for those of you who can't afford Nashville or wonder about some other places, I would encourage you to at least consider. I ain't telling you to buy anything. I'm not giving out real estate advice. But what I am telling you is that Memphis right now is Bummyville. Memphis is a very bummy place right now. But that's going to change very soon. I'm just telling you right now, within our lifetimes, they will be talking about Memphis the way that they are Nashville. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. There ain't nothing you can do about it. It's inevitable.
Actually, I spoke to a realtor, and he actually emailed me some properties and stuff like that. I told him what I'm looking for. I told him no condo. I don't want to pay no HOA fees or nothing like that. I told him I want a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and I'm just corresponding online right now. So I'm not committing to anything, but it doesn't hurt to look. You know?
Definitely. I mean, go and check it out. You know, see what it looks like there.
Right.
That's important. Go and check it out and see what it looks like. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I'm on the move. I got to get to New York. I got a flight out 6:30 out of JFK, so I got to, probably do the Uber or something, or I'm going to try to catch the last train out.
All right. Well, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me take caller from 713. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, my name's Terrence. I'm from Houston.
Terrence from Houston, what's on your mind?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to talk to you. For one, thank you. Thank God that I've been listening to you for the last couple of years. I just wanted to tell you a little story about something that happened to me maybe 6 months ago. I was in a situation where I needed some help, so I went to this Christian thing, and it was a guy that would come in every Friday, and he would talk about him traveling throughout the world. And it was really interesting. If I hadn't been listening to you, I wouldn't have known what this guy was actually doing. But he would tell us about how he would go to these Arab countries and try to indoctrinate the women and children about Christianity. And I just thought it fit this conversation. And the funny thing is, nobody in the room understood what this guy was doing. And it sort of reminded me of how lost we really are as a people. Well, we need your help. Thank you. Black first.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. That brother's over there fist fighting with his cell phone. Caller from 443. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hi, this is Shay from Baltimore, Maryland.
Shay from Baltimore, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I was just listening, and some in the chat said they wanted me to call up. I guess I'm not sure what they want, but my opinions are that I'm so happy that those Indian Sentinel people have fought these people off, because for a while I was a little nervous thinking that they were getting soft because the Indians are on the other side. And just like here in Baltimore, there's a lot of issues that are going on, clear gentrification in the circle, right in the people's face. And they're ignoring it. They feel like it's not happening. But in the worst hoods, you see elliptical machines popping up. And you're seeing brand new light structures with looks almost like crystal balls hanging. And yet the people's neighborhoods are concave and dilapidated, and kids can barely get to school because the homes are vacated. And when the weather is bad, they're slipping because there's no one to tend to the sidewalks. So when I hear this, that this had happened, they had been on my mind for a while, because about 10 years ago, I watched a documentary of this, and it talked about also the how the U.S. and the British also did the same thing to another island not too far from them. So maybe they got the news from that, how those people were removed.
Or maybe when the British colonists came in the 19th century and kidnapped 4 of them, that they had a much lower tolerance for that kind of foolishness than large-scale African populations did. Maybe everybody isn't.
Yes.
Maybe everybody doesn't have tolerance for the same level of foolishness. Maybe that's what's going on.
Thank goodness. And hopefully we can take a bite out of what they're doing and not sit here and complain and start moving forward as a group. I mean, I'm just glad that
in the
that's
chat
happened.
room, now you were asked to call in, and the only time that people are asked to call in is if they say something that is disagreeing with something I've said. Did you make any comments similar to saying that the Bible should be spread to the four corners of the world?
No, my statement was that the Bible does say that because the person had said they were over in, I believe, Indonesia, or the military man, I can't remember which one he said. And he said that there were black people there, and he was surprised to see them. And according to that book, it does say that we're all over the world. So I just thought it was interesting that some people obviously don't have interest in the book. Some
Who
do.
is we?
We all have our limited thoughts. But
Who is we?
We are everywhere.
You said we. We are all over the world. Who is we?
We as black people, because I've lived overseas also, and even when I was a child, it used to be that they wouldn't even take care packages if it had dolls in there that had red hair, blue eyes, because it represented the imperialistic USA. So to hear that some people were surprised, and maybe because they didn't get to see this until they were adults, when I saw this as a child, that around the world we are, as a brown people, melanated, black people, we are across the board. It's just interesting to hear adults speak this way because it's the first time they've seen it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your call tonight. You're invited to give us a call again. Let me get caller from 843. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, TBA, this is Tobias out of Phoenix.
That's who I was looking for. Brother Tobias out of Phoenix, what's on your mind?
Man, a couple of things. First, when I read that story about the white guy that got pelted with those arrows like Jet Li on Hero coming on that island, I laughed a bit because I read up on that island years ago. It's the Indian law says you are forbidden to go on that island. And what people don't get is you could have the flu and you step foot on the island and you can wipe out that whole civilization. But those folks kill you on sight. Why would you even possess? What would go over there and mess with those people? That just shows how these white people are, that they just gonna mess with these people and then they want to cry boo-boo the fool when they want to defend their turf. Leave these people alone. And maybe if black people did the same thing so many hundreds of years ago, maybe we'd be in a better spot.
Well, like I say, coonery hasn't taken root over there. Bedwinchism hasn't taken root. There's nobody to teach them the virtues of integration. Nobody to tell them about the loving decision or whatever. They haven't had anybody show up to do that yet, and to tell them that they should sacrifice their children and their society on the altar of integrationism. So there are no feminists over there holding up their fists with Gloria Steinem. You haven't had that happen over there. Somebody has been able to prevent that from occurring. So right now, North Sentinel Island is a white supremacist nightmare. I mean, you can't even intellectually, you're not even allowed to intellectually colonize the people there. So they really don't know what to do at this point. And if black society were similar, we'd be a lot better, because that's very, very interesting there. I mean, we can name a bunch of Asian societies where black folk are not allowed to go in, are persecuted and everything else. Very interesting but where black folk are concerned, it's supposed to be fair game. All of a sudden.
Yeah. And many people know I used to be in the military, and I've been deployed to the Middle East. And I talked to some we got escort duty, talked to some of the people in the Middle East, that locals. They just want to be left alone. They hate the fact that a lot of white society will come in and tell them how to run their government, how to treat their women, whatever. You may not have to agree with it, but that's their country, and you can leave them alone. But there's something I had to tell you, though. And it's something I was just sitting there listening. Last week, I went to an interracial wedding. The guy I was stationed with, he married his white girl. And I sat at a table, and it was all a bunch of white people there. We were drinking wine. And the thing I noticed was those white people were those white males I was sitting with, they were just talking business the whole time. They rarely even talked about the fun of the wedding. They were talking business. And that's just something that struck me that you said before, where like white guys will go out of town and lace up and like game up on real estate, the lay of the land. These guys were talking business at a wedding. And that's just something that just stuck with me there.
Brother, I mean, they'll talk business at a funeral.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll talk business. Can you imagine Bill Gates or Warren Buffett showing up at a funeral? I mean, folks, they're going to get approached. In the words of Dr. John Henry Clark, in their society, everything that moves for war. And what is the most sophisticated form of warfare? Business. So absolutely, y'all sit over there and get married. I ain't seen this man in a little bit here, and I heard he got $2 million to spend on it. Or we need to get this investment going, and I might not get a chance to holler at you again. So while they're over there throwing the garter around, let me holler at you about this property over here.
Yeah, and they were just talking to me about stuff, and I was just, it just floored me that like at an environment like that, they talking business, and one guy was retired, still talking business, and that just stuck with me. Like it's like you say, money never sleeps.
Well, I mean, but think about that for a moment though, because at your black weddings, everybody's trying to figure out if they can shack up with the damn bridesmaids. Is a difference in priorities. You go to a black wedding, it's a bunch of folk twerking and this, that, and the other, and a bunch of fat girls trying to hike up their skirts. You go over there with them, man, it's like, okay, this is what we do. This is a complete cultural shift about what you do when you get together in large numbers. That's the point. This is a complete cultural shift about what your priorities are supposed to be when you gather together in large numbers. If I can digress here for just a moment, people, if you want to know why poverty is so well combated in their societies, it's because when they get together in numbers, it's about progress on the agenda. It's not about comfort foods. It's not about consumerism. It's about fixing that issue. Or if they got money, what's on the agenda is how can I get more? If they got power, wealth, and influence, how can I get more of it? It's a difference in priorities and what's on the agenda. And I'll tell you something else that happens at a wedding. At the wedding, you find, if I'm telling you right now, especially at white folks' weddings, it's just the damn truth. At white folks' weddings, one of the things that's up for discussion is who husband number 2 may be. She's marrying husband number 1, but if you all go and check, you'll all find that there's a, dare I use the term, disturbing number in white society. If she gets divorced, husband number 2 was somebody she knew when she was with husband number 1. Just thought I'd throw that out there. I'll let you have the last word.
I just want to say thanks for taking my call. And like I said, that just floored me there because when I go to straight up black weddings, no one's talking business. And honestly, with all those different people they fly in from different parts of the country, that's like a perfect time to network. And like it's perfect time to network and get your name out there. Hell, they may even help you find a job. And one of the white guys that are trying to help you find another job, you know. But it's just that those are like opportunities that I think that black people we miss out on. And it doesn't even cost a dime to network, talk to people, learn, game up on business. And I think that we got to do a better job of taking advantage of those opportunities. Black first, brother.
Black first, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Brothers and sisters, there's plenty of, the Cowboys are always playing on Thanksgiving. Why do you think that is? Because Jerry Jones is like, hell, I'll work today and it makes me twice as much money. With him running around now saying that he would sell the Cowboys for $10 billion. Some folks got online, I think it is, we're trying to pass around the petition. They want to force a sale of the Cowboys. We need to get together to buy the Cowboys. Jerry Jones is like, I'd be willing to sell it for $10 billion. So that $2 billion plus that Steve Ballmer paid for the Clippers, Jerry Jones is like, man, that won't pay the rent for me. $2 billion, that won't pay the rent. $2 billion won't pay for my third stringers. You want my franchise, let the bidding start at $10 billion. And by the way, nobody's laughing around the room. Nobody's mocking him for saying it. Nobody's doing that. Nobody. Just thought we would point that out. Caller from 470, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Jason, good evening and happy holidays to you. This is Joe in Atlanta, Georgia.
Happy holiday. Oh, you're being facetious, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to tell you did an excellent job covering North Sentinel Island today. And something really came in my mind. I read Neely Fuller's book a few years ago, and one thing Neely Fuller said, he said, people that believe in white supremacy have to practice white supremacy. They say to themselves, I have to do this or die. And so when I seen that man do that, I said, he is going on a white supremacist jihad. He's got to conquer these people or die. There's no other reason for him to be alive. And so although I get shocked at times when I see their behavior, I calm down and I remember that white supremacists themselves are willing to die to practice their religion. So I want to tell you did an excellent job covering that, and I want to give my opinion on the Tekashi 6ix9ine. Honestly, I can't stand the dude, and so I'm not upset about what's happened to him as far as getting arrested. I think he's very disrespectful, and I think black people allow these non-blacks, whether we use the N-word or not, I think he's running up and down the street, nigga, this, nigga, that. Now, I just can't stand it. And so, in my opinion, he's opening the floodgates for a lot of non-blacks to use the word, which I've heard, and I've had to correct them on using it. And I'm just not upset about it. I think he got what was coming to him, and I think he was representing black hip-hop culture, which is not his, in a very negative light. And, hey, it is what it is. That's how I feel about it.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from 414. You're on live with the Black Channel. Caller from 414, last try. You're on live with the Black Channel. Caller from 414 has been abducted. I held this broadcast tonight because I wanted to put this in its proper perspective. That we can often tell ourselves that we are separated from events by time and history. But there's a saying that nothing is the past. The past isn't even the past. Do you realize that the colonization agenda rolls on? It is rolling on without abatement, without pause, without suspension. It is utterly relentless, and it continues to this very day. And we're in the middle of it. We are in the middle of it now, and it's not going to stop. It is not going to stop. This is going to require our eternal vigilance. If you're going to survive, this is going to require your eternal vigilance. You don't have the option of being able to say, well, the battle is won. And let's just be very clear about this. Black people's behavior in Africa and in America is what has emboldened these people to think that they can do things like North Sentinel Island. Because they have looked at their success with us and how it succeeded. And that has convinced them that if it worked on us here, it will work anywhere. That's what I want you to understand. If it worked on us, it'll work anywhere. If we really want these people to leave the North Sentinelese alone, if we really want to make it very clear to them to stop doing these kind of things, then we got to show them that you have no reason to believe it'll work on the North Sentinelese because it didn't even work on us. That we broke the programming and it's no use to even try it because it does not work. If we show them that the programming didn't take with us, they'll be less likely to keep trying these things with the likes of the North Sentinelese. I want to salute them. I want to salute Julius Malema in South Africa. I want to salute Robert Mugabe's vision in Zimbabwe. I want to salute the vision of Patrice Lumumba and Haile Selassie that lives on to this day. Yes, you call this Thanksgiving. I want to salute the spirit of African independence. I want to salute the spirit of Black empowerment on this day as embodied by the African brothers and sisters of North Sentinel Island. And the greatest thing that we can do for our African brothers and sisters there is to make sure that they remain unmolested. To make sure that there is a permanent repository to show the world that this civilization that has endured for literally tens of thousands of years, that we will preserve it intact. They don't need the damn cell phones. They don't need the damn laptops. They don't need the damn footballs. They don't need the damn hair care products. They're doing just fine like they are. Just fine like they are. They are doing just fine the way they are. And the only reason you want contact with them is to attempt to destroy them. No, you're not helping them. You want to change them. And the only thing that you'll change them from being is from being alive to being dead. And I want to salute all of you, my brothers and my sisters from around the world who share this with us. We are going to encounter obstacles. We are going to encounter traitors. We are going to encounter letdowns. We are going to encounter problems, but we are up to the task. We're up to the task. We can handle this. We can handle this. We're built for this. And what we saw there is an example of what it means. And if we had had that particular code of conduct 500 years ago, I wonder where we would be today. I wonder where we would be. I know where we wouldn't be. We wouldn't be discussing white supremacy. We wouldn't be discussing police brutality. We wouldn't be discussing Donald Trump. We wouldn't be discussing European invaders. We wouldn't be discussing that. Or if we were, we would be discussing that from the seat of African power. And by the way, in your schools, if they attempt to twist the teaching, because I did see an article that was trying to say that they're screwing with the textbooks out there and trying to teach that, oh, the Europeans didn't steal any Africans. They're trying to teach that. Well, we didn't steal them before we put them into slavery. By the way, they never mentioned the word slavery, of course. They're sanitizing the books of the word slavery. Sanitizing the books of the word slavery. But if they want to try to dispute it, just tell them, what should we have done when they were trying to put us on the boats? When we got to America and they put us in chains? Ask your friendly European slavery apologist who tries to pretend that it wasn't a violent situation. Ask him, oh good, well what should we have done? Because I watched Braveheart and I watched 300, so tell me, what should we of Africans have done when the Europeans put us in chains here? What should we have done about that situation? See if he gives you the Braveheart 300 speech. Or if he tells you, well, you should wait for Jesus. You should wait for white people's hearts and minds to change. Don't let him skip to the Civil War. Just tell him, no, back up. What should we have done as soon as we were put in chains on the plantation? What should we have done right then when they put the shackles around our feet? What should we have done about that situation? And watch as that becomes a situation where people are saying, okay, let me see if we're able to divert the topic of conversation. Let's see if we can talk about something else. Let's see if we can do that. You're going to see the subject change very, very quickly. Be looking for Race War to come to streaming next week. Can't wait to see that. I might have a little something extra for you available before that happens. Keep your eyes and your ears open. Might have something a little bit extra available because I already released the younger versus the elder, but we might have something a little bit special coming for you then. Look for the DVDs to come out. And as always, if you had the perks for it, all the perks and stuff, I'm getting all that organized here now. So if you had the autographed DVD and poster perks and things like that, look for that to be coming for as well. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the BlackChannel.net radio program. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is North Sentinel.